Hi, I'm Lisa from Teach Mom Learn, and today we're talking about strategies to communicate effectively with your one-year-old. As all of us with toddlers know, one-year-olds love to talk. The problem is we don't always know what they're saying. They're babbling in their own little language, totally sure of themselves, and we try our best, but sometimes we don't get it right. Right now, my daughter has a few words, and her two most common ones, other than mama and dada, are chocolate, which is always growled, and kitty. Toddlerhood is such an important time for language development. Our one-year-olds are constantly learning new ways to express themselves, and at the same time, their receptive language is exploding. The more vocabulary we use around them, the better. However, there are certain communication strategies that are more helpful and less overwhelming to help our little ones learn language. Today, I'm sharing 10 strategies to help you better communicate with your one-year-old. A lot of these are teacher tricks, especially from my years in special education, and I'm so happy to share them with you. My hope is that these strategies will help you be able to better communicate with your toddler and help their language grow. Strategy number 1 is to give clear, concise directions. Using direct, straightforward language with as few words as possible helps our toddlers better grasp the meaning of our directions. Our children are great listeners, but we don't want to overcomplicate our language and overwhelm them. By sticking directly to the point and making our directions as clear and as simple as possible, we're helping them to understand us better. And we're keeping them from getting overwhelmed. For example, if you want your child to get their cup, all you have to say is, "Get the cup." If you start to say, "Please go get the blue cup over there," it's the same direction, but it takes longer to process because there's extra information there that they don't need. Even though it's more traditionally polite to say it that way, we just need to get our point across. Tip number 2 is a classic teacher strategy. Say what you want your child to do, not what you don't want them to do. Ray is a climber, and it freaks me out. If I say to Ray, "Don't climb the couch," she's going to hear the words "climb the couch" and she's going to do it. If I say, "Sit down," I'm telling her exactly what I need her to do in simple, concrete language that she understands, and she's much more likely to do it. Tip number 3 is to give your child wait time or processing time. What that means is when you give a child a direction, you don't want to say it again and again and again until they do it. You want to say it and then give them time to think about it, process it, and follow the direction. This is something we do in the classroom all the time, but it's something that a lot of us struggle with in our own homes. And I've seen it in parents, in grandparents, in myself sometimes. When we go to give children directions, we tend to say a bunch of things in rapid succession, even if it's the same thing over and over. Situations like when we want our child to get a stuffed animal, we might say, "Go get your bunny, go get your bunny, where's your bunny? Baby, go get the bunny." All of those words mean the exact same thing, it's just being said 4 times because we want a fast response. In reality, the way to get a faster response is by saying the direction once, "Go get your bunny," and then wait. Give your child a solid 3 to 5 seconds to process your language and understand what's being asked of them. By giving your child wait time to process information, you're enabling them to understand and to be much more successful in following your directions. And you're not overwhelming them, because the last thing you want to do is have an overwhelmed and frustrated toddler. Tip number 4 is to give your child choices. Giving children choices at a young age gives them a sense of autonomy. It makes them more confident, and it makes them feel like they're in control of the world around them a little bit more, which toddlers love. We tend to make tons of choices for our children. We pick out their outfits, their shoes, their meals. If we can give our children control over these things, it'll make them feel so confident and so valued. In my classroom and at home, I give forced choices. What that means is that I like both options. So, for example, if I'm making Ray a snack and I give her the options of blueberries or raspberries, I don't care which one she eats because they're both healthy, but she loves being able to make that choice for herself. The key to engineering a good forced choice is making sure that you will be happy with either alternative that your child picks. Whatever choice you're offering a younger child, make sure you give them a visual representation of their choices. Hold up the outfits or the food right in front of them so that they know exactly what they're choosing between. And then honor their choice. That way, even if they're not sure what the words mean or they can't say them yet, they can still tell you what they want. The more choices we give our kids, the better, because it helps them feel stronger and more independent. Hey, do you want raspberries, blueberries, or strawberries? Yay! 5 is to use consistent language, and this is especially important when you're talking about the safety of your child or others and you want them to listen to you right away. When you give a child a command, especially when it's related to their safety or somebody else's, it's very important to make sure that they understand you. The less complicated the direction is and the less variety you use over time, the better they'll understand you and the more likely they'll be to listen. Ray is a little bit of a hair and fur puller, and so our go-to language for her is to be gentle. If I say gentle, do nice, stop, don't pull, that hurts, all those words are things that she'll understand eventually, but not in the moment. She only has to understand one command. And when you're teaching commands like this, make sure you model your language. So when we say gentle, I show her how to gently pat my hair. That way she has a visual model, she has her word, and she understands what we expect from her. Tip number 6 is to encourage your toddler to show you. Toddlers are very determined little communicators, and they know exactly what they want, but nothing infuriates them more than when you don't know. Your toddler is going to walk over to you babbling away and blowing raspberries, trying to tell you their heart is that they want a snack and they want applesauce and cheese puffs. And then when you don't know that that's what they're talking about and give them a yogurt, they're going to throw the yogurt at you. One helpful strategy is to pay attention to their nonverbal language. Look where they're looking, follow their eyes, or if they're pointing, go to whatever they're pointing to. I usually pick Ray up and ask her to show me, and then it becomes like a game of hot and cold. She growls at me when I go in the wrong direction, and she cheers when I go in the right direction. When they finally successfully show you what they wanted to tell you to begin with, they are going to be so excited, and their little smile will make your heart melt. Show Mama! Yeah! You want yogurt? You want Mama's yogurt? You can have it. Tip number 7 is to give specific praise. This is one of those things that all teachers learn in school, and it's something that really helps us in the classroom. There's a huge difference between saying, "Great job," and saying, "You worked so hard on that fraction problem. I'm so proud of the effort that you put in." The specific praise is much more meaningful. The same is true for your toddler. When they accomplish something, make sure you praise them with specific language. The key is to be simple but precise. You want to tell them why what they did was a good thing. So for example, if your child sits down when you tell them not to climb on the couch, you could say, "Great job," or you could say, "Good job sitting down." As your child gets older, you can make the praise more complex. So something like, "I love how you sat down right away. That was such good listening." It's also a great idea to offer praise for specific behaviors that you're looking for. So especially if you have a toddler who's slow to talk or nervous to walk, you want to make sure that you praise them for that. Remember, the more you praise your toddler for doing something right, the more they're going to do that behavior. Positive reinforcement and you being happy with them is extremely powerful for toddlers. As you're going through your day, make sure you praise your children frequently. Tell them what a great job they're doing with their talking, or how well they did throwing the ball. You want to make them feel good about themselves, to take pride in their accomplishments, and to have confidence as they grow. Tip number 8 is to label everything. For toddlers, life is one giant vocabulary lesson, and they're constantly learning the meaning of words around them. The more words you use to describe things, the better off they'll be. For your toddler, life is one giant vocabulary lesson, and they want to know what everything around them is. Whenever you're walking around your house with your toddler, going to a park, going to the playground, getting them dressed, use the opportunity to talk to them about everything you're seeing, feeling, smelling, touching, whatever. Labeling objects, describing their characteristics, and demonstrating verbs are great ways to help your children learn new vocabulary. When you're getting your child dressed in the morning, talk about the texture and color of their clothing and label the items. When you're going for a walk around your neighborhood, talk about the birds and the planes and the trees. Use every opportunity you have to talk to them about the world around them. It will really help to build their vocabulary. Tip number 9 is to build on your child's words. When children first start talking, they use individual words and then slowly build to phrases. So they might say car, and that's fantastic. What you can do as their parent is build on it, almost like you would in improv class. So instead of just listening to them say car, you can say, "Yes, that is a car. The car is red." Building on your child's words with yes and statements simultaneously praises, encourages, and builds on their language. Tip number 10 is to correct your child with kindness and humor. Inevitably, they're going to answer some of your questions wrong. You might ask them what the bird says, and they might come back with a very confident woof. When your child is incorrect, you want to maintain their confidence while at the same time teaching them the proper answer. That's why you want to keep a positive tone of voice, and in my personal opinion, avoid using the word no as much as possible unless you're smiling. So if your child says that a bird says woof, you can just smile and say, that's what a birdie says. A doggy says woof. You're correcting them, but you're doing it in a nice way. Is to make them feel badly about themselves. When you have a toddler, you can just give them the correct answer and help them learn. As your child gets older, you can turn their mistakes into opportunities to work as a team to find the right answer. In my classroom, I don't like coming right out and telling students that they're wrong. It just sounds so defeating. Instead, I try to find something that they've done right. So for example, if we're doing a complicated math problem, I might say, I love how you did that first step. That is perfect. Let's go back and look at the second step together to see if we can find a different answer. I'm still correcting them, but I'm also praising what they did well so that they can feel confident moving forward. By working with older children to solve the problem together, you're teaching them problem-solving skills explicitly, you're giving them a sense of ownership and pride over the right answer, and you're building their confidence instead of tearing them down. I hope these tips help you and your toddler have your best conversations yet. Enjoy the babbles because there'll be words before you know it. If you liked this video, please subscribe to Teach Mom Learn and check out the blog. Bye, see you next week.